English program at Mount Royal, you start with art. Art that goes out to the world in words and in images. You study the deeply human activity of storytelling, and you experience a perfect blend of contemporary fiction and timeless classics.
Some people don't know that English departments went through a major expansion a few decades ago. They took a look at how narrowly they had been defining literature deemed worth looking at. Too many writers and too many different types of storytelling didn't appear in the traditional English literary canon of study, as good as some of that English literature may be. Then boom, all of a sudden, English departments expanded and now include the study of fantasy novels and science fiction, graphic novels and comic books, popular literature from romances to crime and conspiracy fiction. Children's literature is now taught more than ever, as are specialized topics like literature about the natural environment. The full range of literature written in Canada gets taught. And the discipline was transformed by the far greater inclusion of stories written by women, Indigenous persons, and LGBTQ. Their works are now widely read, taught, and celebrated. The English major for students could also include a minor area of concentration in either creative writing or film studies. There are even French and Spanish language courses on offer. It really is an extraordinary buffet of creative productions that you have here to immerse yourself in.
Several courses in the English major look at literature from earlier periods, and they do that for a good number of reasons. Every poem, short story, novel, play, film, or comic book you experience today comes out of some kind of literary tradition. The art of story is like any other art form. You appreciate it better when you know the history contexts behind it. But literature from historical periods is also worth studying for its own sake. Works of art that stand the test of time can offer profound reading experiences. These are voices from and about people long gone. They give you extraordinary glimpses into the fears and anxieties of an age past, the joys and delights, the attitudes and ideas that once animated a society centuries ago. This is big picture human condition stuff we're talking here. And let's face it, we're looking at some real Hall of Famers here, well-known authors of the Western literary tradition. From the British inheritance, we have Chaucer writing to us from the medieval period, Shakespeare and Milton from the early modern period, William Blake and Mary Shelley from the Romantics, Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters from the Victorian period, and William Butler Yeats and Virginia Woolf from the early 20th century.
Job futures open up nicely for English grads because of their research skills, writing abilities, and conversance with many kinds of cultural issues. In laws, in government policies, in marketing, and in art, proper and dynamic use of language is everything. Future-focused grads often find themselves working in rewarding fields they never imagined. And people with English degrees today are bringing language expertise to the table in a changing technological landscape.
Most writing experts believe that AI can play a role in helping researchers and professional communicators to do their work. But those same experts, they warn repeatedly that we'll have to keep an eye on AI, even as it continues to improve. AI is simulated and machinic intelligence only. Text generated by AI routinely contains weaknesses and outright errors that need to be checked.
Writing is such an essential skill. Like, we need writing in, pretty much every discipline. And now with AI, I think it's really easy to get lazy with that. So kind of like teaching, again, like starting from the beginning, the basics with like the fundamental gen eds, like writing for academic success, And then building on those with a kind of more intermediate to the expert level kind of classes, you make sure that your ability in this new age is still, iron sharp.
And AI can only draw from online repositories of what's already been said and written. So what if you want to say something powerfully original that's never been thought of or said before? You will need the words and the language skills to put form to your thoughts and to introduce it to the world in the way people will understand.
Of course, in an English degree, you learn to write well, but you also learn to connect with yourself and with others. I think writing overall, writing for literature, writing for communication is writing for connection.
After the introductory composition course that all students at Mount Royal need to take for their degrees, where writing becomes less of a chore and more of like a power or a pleasure. And at the same time, we have a technical writing course for students who are eager to work in industry.
The instructors in my English degree were phenomenal, but they were people first rather than just instructors. They were individuals who I could go to, who I could converse with.
In terms of professors, there's such a wide range in the department, but I think one thing that was really evident overall was that almost every single professor was very understanding. They recognized that students have a life out of school. I really did have a great experience with every professor, so that was really nice.